Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling. I'm BrendenPlayz, and we are continuing our TNA playthrough of 2006, and tonight we will be doing the Against All Odds pay-per-view. And you can see in your bottom right-hand corner of your screen, these are the matches that we can expect to see on the pay-per-view. And meanwhile, whilst we have been preparing for the pay-per-view, we've done a few major changes, including, as you saw last episode, the introduction of a new developmental territory. Now I have gone ahead and changed a few things, including the name of it. Now first, we've also done one thing that I actually played around a little bit with not long ago, and that is alliances. So the alliance thing is something that I haven't really experienced before in this, and so it's pretty new to me, which is why I'm so interested in doing it. So what we've done is we've created our own alliance. I'm calling it the Impact Alliance, the Impact Wrestling Alliance to be exact. So we originally were going to go with the NWA, we were going to stick with that, but I figured, you know what, let's start something fresh, let's start something new, and let's just go with Impact as our major name. Now we may change that. If you guys have any good suggestions, let me know, but for now, Impact is what we're going to go with, and we're going to call our developmental territory Impact Florida. We've got 2 championships that will be in the alliance. Contemplating and debating whether or not I'll put the tag team championships in the alliance or not. We'll have to see. But for now, this is what we have. So we have the Impact Global Championship, which I think will basically be like the US Championship or the Intercontinental Championship, or maybe even a television championship, but we're going to call it the Impact Global Championship, which is, you know, it is an actual championship at one point. So we'll call it the Impact Global title, and we have the Impact Knockouts Championship. So we did originally have the TNA Knockouts Championship. We've got rid of that. We're going to make it the Impact Knockouts Championship. And these 2 titles will go in between our developmental and our actual TNA product. So the way I see this is that we basically have our developmental territory, but our developmental guys can mix in with some of our main roster guys to help boost the developmental, and I guess have them work with some of the better names and give them a chance to be a champion and do that thing. I don't know, I feel like it could be fun to try this out. At the moment we only have Impact Florida, and I would like to expand and add a few more people. But I feel like there should be people that we've created, our own creations, rather than, you know, bringing in a company that already exists. You know, for example, I don't know, PWG or something like that. Now, here's the thing. There's already an Impact Pro Wrestling. Impact Pro Wrestling apparently is a New Zealand company, so that already exists. And, I mean, there isn't the best of talent in the world there. But apparently that already exists, so that's a bit of a conflict. But, you know, we're just Impact Florida, so that's fine. We don't have a logo, so we're just going to go with a TNA logo, which is fine. So we have an alliance, which I think is pretty fun. I think that's pretty cool. And what it also means is that we can lend and borrow wrestlers directly. So here's the other thing that we have to deal with. As you see, these are the guys we're looking to sign. So I've actually gone ahead and tried to sign a lot of different names, all different, you know, types of wrestlers to join our developmental program. Now, first of all, Sabu. We'll deal with Sabu first. As you can see, the pay-per-view is tonight. We came up with this big grand plan to make Sabu the guy to be the special partner for Raven in the tag team match against Test and A-Train. Sabu hasn't signed the contract yet, so we can't use him. We can't use Sabu. He didn't sign the contract in time, so we don't have him. Okay, so this is a dilemma, but here's my solution. Now, as you guys saw, we created our child company last episode. The people that we put in control. Don Callis is the booker, but let's look up. Diamond Dallas Page is the owner. Now that we have an alliance, we can utilize this alliance. We can loan, and we can grab Diamond Dallas Page. We've got him, and we have him for the appearance. So he is available to use for this pay-per-view for tonight. Which means our problem is solved. We've got DDP. Yes, it's an old 49-year-old DDP. but, you know, the popularity's still 75. We can get a good match out of him. And plus, it's a big name. It's a pretty good name, and it's a surprise appearance. I like it. So, we've got him. We've got DDP. We have a solution, and he can join up with Raven for this matchup. And they were in WCW together, I think. So that's, you know, I'm sure that's something. You know, it works out fine. It's good enough. You know, it has to do because we've got no other choice. That's all we have. So we've got DDP. We solved that issue. Now the other thing. We've got some more names that we signed, as I said, to join our developmental. We got Frankie Kazarian. He's not joining developmental. We got Sabu. He'll be coming in. And, you know, I guess we got Sabu to work this match, and we don't actually, you know, we won't even have him to work the match, but we might bring him in to actually work the rivalry still. You know, why not? We've already basically signed the deal. If he accepts, I think we'll go with it. Now, the people that bring it into developmental. Okada. Yep, we've got Okada. He's an 18-year-old rookie. He's only working in M-Pro, whatever. He's really, you know, nothing special at the moment at all. But hey, we'll bring him in and we'll train him up a little bit, get him accustomed to the US. Who knows? So that's that. Samurai Del Sol, aka Kalisto. Again, another rookie. But we know Kalisto's a good high flyer. Could be a good addition to the X division at some point, so not a bad investment. Seth Rollins, why not, of course. He's working a few indies, but we want him in ours, so he's again another rookie. Gargano, why not? Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, so a lot of these guys are all rookies, at least, you know, 1 year, yeah, so still very new, nothing special yet. Dean Ambrose or John Moxley, we got him coming in. Of course, they have to accept the deal, but these are the people who offered contracts to. Eve Torres, we need some women. And again, she's not great at the moment, but we could, you know, build her up. And with her sex appeal, that will help. The Young Bucks, why not? They're not really doing much. And we need some tag teams. We need to start building some new tag teams. Matt Morgan. I think I will bring Matt Morgan in and put him in developmental because, you know, he is 29, he's 4 years in, so he doesn't necessarily need to go to developmental. Good popularity, but his stats could be better, and I think if we send him down there to train to get better, we don't have anything for him to do right now, really. There's not really a spot for him. So if we send him down to developmental, eventually a spot might open up for him, and he'll be better than what he was when he came in, so I think it might be a good idea just to spend some time investing in him. Mercedes Martinez, of course, she's well known on the women's circuit. I personally don't know a lot about her, but I know she's good. So we're going to bring her in and might just put us directly in our women's division. I'm not sure if we'll have her go developmental at all. Mark Jindrak has a good look about it, really good look, and has some potential. Now his ring work is not the best, which is what we need to improve on. So we're going to put him in developmental, and we'll see how he goes. Most of these deals that we offered are mainly, you know, 1 year deals or so. And Chris Sabin, well, we just offered him a written deal rather than a paper appearance deal. So he's not going to developmental, but we will be offering him a written deal so we can lock him in. So that's that. So we got some new championships, as I said. We might even look to crown our first Impact Global Champion. We're definitely probably going to crown our first Knockouts Champion. Now, I think we will rebrand our championships here. So the NWA World Championship, I think it's time to rebrand it just as the TNA World Championship. I think that's, you know, I think it's fair enough. I think it's time. So pick a look. This one looks good, but it's too a bit dark. So we'll go with this one. So we'll rebrand it as the TNA World Title. As I said, I wouldn't mind having the tag team titles involved in the alliance, but I don't actually think you can put an existing championship in an alliance. I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, so we will just rebrand it as the TNA World Tag Team Championships again. And yeah, so that's that. Put that there. So yeah, so there you go. So we got our 3 TNA championships, the X Division, the World Tag, and the World Championship. We have the Super Cup tournaments, and then we obviously have our Alliance Championship. So it's a little bit different, but I think it could work. And you know, if it doesn't work, that's fine. We can always cancel it. But I think it's a good way to make sure that our developmental is used not just as developmental, but also integrated a little bit with TNA and you know, the main show. So if someone does get sent down to developmental, it's not exactly a demotion, they can still be involved. Now, these are the people we have sent down so far. Awesome Kong, I think she can improve, and plus, I don't think there's necessarily she's not. We want her to be a world the Knockouts champion, I should say. We want her to be a major player, and she definitely still could be, even though she's down in developmental. But we don't necessarily have a spot for her right now as a top heel. She's a work in progress. So I figured we could send her down to developmental. She can improve. She can keep getting better because she's only 3 years in. She can keep getting better, and then by the time we've got a spot for her, or she's ready to go on main TV, she's much better off. Jeremy Borash, we sent him down there basically to be the announcer because we had nothing for him on the main roster. Monty Brown, we can, you know, very much so use Monty up on the main roster, but I figured he's not in a storyline right now, and we haven't basically we picked Test instead of Monty. Now I like Monty Brown, but he's 35. That's the only real concern. So I feel like whilst he's not doing a lot right now, send him down to developmental, let him get better, because you see his in-ring ability is only average. We need that to improve. So if we can get it to improve, with that good popularity that he has, he certainly could be a star for us. So we'll invest 6 to 12 months in him down to developmental maybe. We'll see how he goes. And Nakamura, of course. We've signed Nakamura. He's done. He's in. We've got him. But you know, the popularity is an issue, and plus he can still keep getting better down in developmental, so he's already pretty damn good. So if he can keep getting better, that's fantastic. So we'll send him down there to do that. And you know, does he want a size increase? That's not also a bad idea. He's a middleweight. I mean, Nakamura is a light heavyweight. Probably couldn't really picture it. So Monty Brown might not be, you know, he doesn't want to go up in a size. So yeah. But anyway, so that's that. So we don't have a lot of people that we've looked to send down because we don't have a lot of our wrestlers under written contracts, which is the issue. We're actually getting a lot more now, aren't we? Most of our women are under written contracts, but in terms of our males, there's really no one to send down. I figure we might send Natalia down. She's not a bad option. We'll see if she can get better. Yeah, we could send her down to improve. She's not bad though. I mean, it would be maybe a little bit unfair to send her down. ODB's not a bad option. She has good popularity, but she did have a bit of a stinker of a match, didn't she? So I might send her down, to be honest. Send her down because Awesome Kong needs someone to wrestle. And we did set our company to be a child company rather than developmental. So it is Impact Florida, so the initials are IPF. I don't know if I really like that. I may change that, but IPF does have the ability to basically sign anyone else to come and work in the territory as well. But I think I might keep it as developmental right now because we are looking to sign so many new names. I feel like if we have all these new names, I'd rather focus on the guys that we want to use rather than bring in a lot of random people that we've got no idea who they are, don't care for them. There's no point in putting our time in and paying them when we don't really want to use them in the end. So we might stick with the guys we've got and we'll go from there. But anyways, let's start getting into the pay-per-view, and you know, we'll prepare to try and make this pay-per-view awesome because let's be honest, the first pay-per-view was a disaster. It was not good. It could have been so much better. It was just disappointing. So that's our pay-per-view dealers. A couple of incidents. What do we got? Melissa and Fallen Angel. Fallen Angel passing on tips to his protege. So there you go. That's good. So cheerleader Melissa will get even better. So we've got 3 hours, and we've got to go ahead and get this show booked. And we'll book most of the show without showing you guys too much, but we might just book a couple matches just to kind of give you an idea of the process a little bit more. So first up, we're going to open up with the X Division match, and we might... Last time we did a high spot match, and it didn't really suit as much. A lot of matches that have a gimmick towards it, mostly, you know, brawl or high spots or whatever, or hardcore, which is annoying. I like having regular matches, so this one, a ladder match, can be a regular match, which is the one we're going to go with. So obviously it's Low Ki versus Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles versus Fallen Angel, and the X Division Championship is on the line. Now, here's the dilemma. Samoa Joe is the champion right now. We'll give it 25 minutes. It deserves some time. Samoa Joe is the champion right now, but do we give it to someone else? Because Samoa Joe is starting to rise in popularity, and it would be still good to have him in the X Division, but again, I wouldn't mind having him as a contender for the world title, as someone to take on Christian Cage, because we do have Abyss and Test, and Muhammad Hassan obviously, but Test isn't ready. Abyss is probably the best option. Muhammad Hassan is a little bit iffy. He's okay, but he still needs some more progression. I wouldn't mind separating the two and having a big matchup at a much bigger pay-per-view between Hassan and Christian as well. So maybe we might keep Samoa Joe in the X Division for a little while longer, and maybe we'll go back to it later on and have him drop the championship to someone else. Maybe Christopher Daniels might be the right option. Although Low Ki would be a good option, but obviously he's a heel and Samoa Joe's a heel, so we don't necessarily want to do a heel versus heel. We'll have a promo here. We might have Muhammad Hassan kind of promo on Jeff Hardy. Muhammad Hassan's promos have been really, really good actually. And we might do our women's matchup right now. So the women's matchup, Gail Kim. Well, we're doing a big night of multi-man matches. I don't know if we want to necessarily do multi-women. Christy Hemme is the person in the rivalry in the feud, but obviously she's not great. So we might actually have Gail Kim go up against Molly Holly, who's obviously much better. And we'll give it some time. We'll give it a chance. We actually need to bring in the championship. So 1 second. We'll give the belt to Gail Kim. I think she's the right option for now. I think she's the right champion. Molly Holly certainly would be a good pick. So we're going to bring in the Knockouts Championship. So we'll just add that to this match here. And we might actually just add Molly Holly to the storyline. I was going to have Christy Hemme interfere, but we might just add her in. So why not? And there you go. So there's our first Impact Knockouts champion. So again, that belt can go and be defended in our developmental territory as well. So I don't mind that. We'll have another promo here, and we might have Jeff Hardy speak back on Muhammad Hassan, because that match might be coming up soon. So we might do that now. Actually, wait, no, that's the Fatal 4-Way, isn't it? We went with a Fatal 4-Way in the end. So we'll leave that. We'll do a tag team match. We'll do the LAX. So LAX and the New Age Outlaws. We just changed it to Hernandez, didn't we? We did have him as Sean Hernandez, but we changed it. So LAX and New Age Outlaws, we'll have them have their match, and that should be pretty good. Like, Hernandez hasn't got good popularity, but Homicides is pretty decent. So, but again, we're going to have the New Age Outlaws win. I think that's the right decision. And we'll give them some time to try and do something there. So yeah, but that's all we'll do for this. I'll show you the rest of the matches. This is some of the process that I wanted to show you guys, and just kind of how I go about booking the shows, because it does take a long time to book the shows. I don't want to spend all the time doing that, so I just want to show you a bit of a process. So we'll come back and I'll show you the rest of the matches that we got on here. Okay, so this is it. Our full show is now booked. We're taking up all but 1 minute, and let's take a quick run through of the show. We have 2 pre-show matches: Bobby Roode versus Truth. Austin Aries and Roderick Strong team up to take on Sonjay and Jay Lethal. Some of the other matches you saw here already. LAX, New Age Outlaws, Hassan cutting a promo, Biss cutting a promo. The Fatal 4-Way between Rhino, Hardy, Muhammad Hassan, and Abyss. I made that a steel cage match because Rhino, Jeff Hardy, and Abyss, all have really good brawl stats. Muhammad Hassan, I don't think he does, but 3 is better than none. So I think that'll suit them more, having that type of match. Muhammad Hassan might have a bit of a bad performance, but the rest should be pretty good and might be able to carry him through. We have Tess and A-Train actually taunting Raven, saying, basically saying he hasn't got a partner. Then they go to have their match. DDP does a huge entrance, has a big special entrance. Then it's TNA, aka Tess and Albert, versus DDP and Raven. And then after the match, Test and Raven continue to brawl. Since the feud's mainly around them two, so rather than A-Train and DDP getting involved, I just kind of centered it around Test and Raven to put the spotlight on them. America's Most Wanted cut a promo on Team 3D. Then Team 3D have a match against America's Most Wanted. And then during the match, the Steiners come out and screw over the Team 3D, costing them the match. And then they beat the hell out of Team 3D after the match, basically to introduce them to TNA, debut them, and then to set up a match down the line against Team 3D. And obviously we're going to have Team 3D go over in the end, but it's a good way to kind of introduce them. Then we have Christian cut a promo, then we do a video package between Jeff Jarrett and Christian. Then it's Jeff Jarrett and Christian one-on-one. I think it's a Falls Counter Anywhere match, but it's a regular match still, so it should be fine. Obviously Christian's going to win, and then after the match, Christian and Sting, they celebrate together, because of course Sting was still a part of the feud, not in the match though, but they're kayfabe friends, I guess you could say. So I have Sting come out, and plus we want to have Sting on the card at least. We want him on the show in some capacity. I was going to do a post-show match with him, but we just went with the celebration instead. Alright, so Bobby Roode and R-Truth actually had a pretty good match. 75 rated in the end. That's pretty solid. Decent tag team match. So Aries and Roderick Strong actually need a new gimmick, so we'll have to work on that. And it was a hardcore match, really? What did I must have done something wrong. Oh, at a Foley's Funhouse? But how the hell did that happen? I've done it again. How the hell did I give them a Foley's Funhouse match? I thought I gave them a regular tag team match. Okay. Luckily, it was on the pre-show. Alright, here it is. Our Fatal 4 for the X Division Championship. Not bad. Not bad at all. 84. It could have been better. It was a Fatal 4-way ladder match. Everyone did a pretty good performance. AJ actually was the worst out of the lot. So I'm not sure what went wrong. And didn't get a bigger performance, but still, we're happy with that. It's a good way to open the show up. Samoa Joe cut a promo afterwards, of course. 61 for the women's match. I'm happy with that. So Gail Kim, our first Impact Knockouts champion. Jeff Hardy cutting a promo. We had LAX and the New Age Outlaws. Very good. 79. So the New Age Outlaws had an 80, as did Homicide. Hernandez was the only one who really did poorly. But that's only because his popularity is so low, so we can really boost that up. LAX are going to be a pretty good tag team, as expected. So that's a good match. That's a good match indeed. And then afterwards, he had LAX. They actually got their revenge on the New Age Outlaws, beating them down after the match. Muhammad Hassan cutting a promo. Abyss actually cut a promo on Hassan, Rhino, and Jeff Hardy, so all Fatal 4-Way participants. And in their match, 80. Okay, Fatal 4-Way match, still cage. So 80 in the end. So it was actually Muhammad Hassan actually had a performance of 76. So there you go. That's really good for him. So Rhino needs a better gimmick, and so does James Mitchell. So a lot of our guys are in need of better gimmicks, because we didn't really set most of the gimmicks. We didn't change most of them. We just kind of went with the ones that were already existing. So we needed to change them. Rhino had the worst performance out of the lot. So not a bad performance. 68 is not terrible, but it's good news that Muhammad Hassan's doing really well, though. 76. He was my big concern. Abyss 77 as well. And I believe, yes, Abyss actually won the match. So Abyss is the next #1 contender. So that was the #1 contender match for the TNA Championship. So Abyss and Christian Cage is probably where we're going to be heading next for that. So he's now the #1 contender. Jeff Hardy wants us to not put him in a brawl match. Muhammad Hassan didn't mind, though. I thought Muhammad Hassan was going to be one to complain. 64 for that. DDP, 74 for his special entrance. Oh no, the match was a stinker. Okay, so now we had to put a mayhem match on. We had to use, a chaotic, crazy, overbooked type of match at least once on the card. And I thought that this match might already be quite poor. So I figured that I'll just go with a, one of our lower matches just to get through. I didn't think it'd end up being this bad though. DDP was only a 58 performance. He was the worst out of the match. A-Train carried the match. So yeah, we knew this wasn't going to be amazing, but we did the best of what we had. And again, we want to put Test in a good position, and it's a slow build for him. It's going to take some time. Raven being on drugs doesn't help either, so that's always bad. The promo there. Now we have Jim Cornette. He is their manager. Was he involved there? No, maybe not this time. I think he's on commentary for the pay-per-views. 81 though for the match for the tag titles. So there you go. So we debuted Scott Steiner. His gimmick's great. We gave Rick Steiner a bit of a biker gimmick because he kind of looks like, you know, a biker type of guy. James Storm was the worst out of the lot in the match. Can you believe it? He's the lowest, you know, the weak link. I thought definitely Chris Harris would be, but James Storm the weak link. But an 81 overall. So I'm happy with that. It lacks some psychology. Okay, so that's disappointing. And then obviously the beatdown afterwards, that went over really well, 84. So that's good news as well. So the Steiners have actually had a really good debut, which is great. Christian, good promo. And then now the match, 88. There you go. Fantastic. Finally. So that will mean that we actually have, I think, a really good pay-per-view overall. So Christian defends the TNA World title. He had a great performance. So did Jeff Jarrett, to be fair. That's awesome. Really happy with that. And then the final segment, 93, excellent. Sting and Christian celebrating together. Overall, 85 rated pay-per-view. Thank goodness. We got in trouble for using Hernandez a little bit too much, but whatever. 85 overall. Very happy about that. All right, so let's give Christian. He should get some big praise, and we'll give it to Jeff Jarrett too. He did well, and you know what? I'm going to give Muhammad Hassan. He impressed me tonight. I'm happy with his performance. So we'll give all of them some praise. All of our top guys, give them some praise for doing really well. I'm very, very happy with that. You know, we had a stinker last paper because we kind of messed up, but this time we got it right. We messed up the pre-show match, but the rest we got right. So I'm really happy with that, and everything went really well. Okay, so let's go ahead and check the results at the end of the day. So we had a few complaints. Jeff Hardy's not happy that he's losing so many matches. All right, so we have to give Jeff Hardy a bit more of a push. He's disappointed. Okay, so we don't want our number 2 babyface to be losing that much. He has lost a little bit, and we got a 0.25 pay-per-view buy rate. That's great as well. That's actually an increase from last time. A few decisions. Okay, all right. Sabu, now you want to join TNA. Okay, the day after the pay-per-view, now you want in. Now you want to come just in time for us when we don't need you. You know. All right, we'll bring him in. We got Dolph Ziggler. He's going to be actually. No, we have to actually put Dolph Ziggler in developmental. He wouldn't sign a developmental contract because he thinks he's better than that. So here's some more developmentals. We've got one of the young bucks. We want both. Once again, Raven. You know, we can't send him to rehab. We need to, but we can't. We just have to keep finding him and hoping that his behavior improves, because it's just a real nuisance at this point. It's really annoying. We just can't do anything with him. Let's take a look at some of the rivalry, the popularity increases rather. Abyss, his has been going up steadily. That's good to see. AJ's is going fine. Wow, A-Train, he's up to 70 now. So there you go. A-Train, he's a bit of a dark horse, isn't he? I mean, we were pushing Test to the moon. I guess A-Train's benefiting from it. Now he's actually a main eventer. He's now moved up into the main event. So I guess we have ourselves another top main event heel to our disposal. And look, A-Train's pretty good. He had a 70 overall performance. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. The Dudley Boys, I think they actually went down a little bit, the Dudley Boys, losing to Chris Harris and James Storm. Did they go up too much, James Storm? Up to 68. We kind of got the feeling that could happen. But yeah, so they've actually gone down, and the other team didn't really benefit that much more. So that's a bit of a That's a bit of a bummer, but they'll come back. You know, they're going to beat the Steiners, so they'll get that popularity back. Christian's now up to 81. That's really good. So he's our top guy. He's our man. 81, exactly where we want him to be. Fantastic. Christopher Daniels is doing okay. Gal Kim up to 53. Obviously now our new champion. That's good. Hernandez up to 36. I don't think he increased, which is disappointing. So yes, Jeff Hardy. So he's probably dipped down actually, and yeah, he's had a few losses, so it's disappointing. Jeff Jarrett basically staying the same despite losing, and that should be the case because Christian is that far ahead of him now in popularity. It shouldn't really affect Jeff that much to lose to him, and it didn't really, so that's good. Low Key stayed the same despite the loss. Molly Holly's the same still. Muhammad Hassan. Okay, so Muhammad Hassan, he definitely dropped down. He definitely dropped down, probably in favor of Abyss. Yeah, so they've nearly switched over. So Abyss was quite far down, and now Muhammad Hassan's dropped down nearly on the same level as Abyss. Still slightly ahead, but nearly on the same level. Raven, well, he's dropped down considerably, hasn't he? Down to 68, and obviously A-Train's benefited from that. Rhino's at 68, so he's also dropped down quite a lot as well, so that's a bit of a concern. And this is the problem that we have. When you have your main guys versus your main guys, someone has to benefit, someone has to lose, and unfortunately, you know, you can see we've got a few losers here. Rick Steiner the same. Samoa Joe up to nearly 70, which is good, so he's almost main event level, very close to moving up in the main event. 70 is about the benchmark to move into the main event. Scotty Steiner 75 still, that's fine. And Sting still the same, and Test up to 67. So I think Test was actually 64. So he's up now to 67. So he's very close, probably maybe one more win over Raven. Very close to moving up to the main event as well, which is obviously the plan for him. His performances haven't been amazing, but you know, I think the more popularity he gets, the better we're going to get out of him. So I'm happy with that. So we've nearly built ourselves a new top tag team of A-Train and Test. And maybe the Dudley boys can have a feud with them as well. So there you go. So that's the changes in popularity after the pay-per-view. That's all, you know, pretty decent news. A lot of the guys, the winners certainly won. The losers certainly lost. I guess that's the point that needs to be made. Financially, we got a really good buy rate, and we got 452,000. So we did spend $1 million on developmental, so we probably won't make a profit this month. I mean, it'd be very shocking. We won't make a profit, but it won't be that bad of a loss in the end. Maybe it will be a $500,000 loss, maybe $400,000. I'm not sure, but it shouldn't be as bad as we were expecting, which is good news. So we have Sabu now. He needs a gimmick, so we'll probably give him some extremist gimmick. But we actually got him a pay-per-appearance deal, so I actually thought we were going to give him a written deal, but we gave him pay-per-appearance, so we can get rid of him whenever we want. But we'll add him to the Raven feud, and we can start having him, you know, team of Raven, and probably lose, to be honest. And that's the thing, Raven doesn't deserve the push, does not deserve the victories, because he's so drunk and on drugs all the time. His performances just aren't good because of it. It's really letting the match down. He needs to be carrying Test, and, you know, not A-Train as much, but certainly Test, and Raven's just letting us down, so he deserves to lose, to be honest with you. Until he fixes himself, he's going to be losing, and that's just his own fault. But hey, A-Train and Test have certainly benefited from it. Let's have a look at the championships. So, take a look at our Alliance championships. So, yeah, look, the Women's Championship, we've got Gail Kim now. She's the champ. Doesn't have a photo for this for whatever reason, but that's fine. So, she's our first Women's Champ. We didn't put the Global Championship on the line at the pay-per-view because I want to do a storyline involved with it. I want to build it up so it's not just a throwaway title. I actually want to do something with it. So I'm not sure who we're going to give the championship to. Maybe, you know, it's definitely going to be a mid-card championship. So maybe someone like an Austin Aries might be the guy to hold it. You know, he's 50 popularity. Maybe we give it to Austin Aries. Maybe R-Truth. Maybe he's an option, you know, 61. He's just a mid-carder, so maybe he's also an option as well. But that's basically all we have time to cover. I think we've kind of gone through everything. But honestly, really, really good result. Really, really good pay-per-view. 85, it's really positive news. Honestly, it really is. And WWE had a show at the same time, so they had No Way Out, and they were 85. and we were 85. So we're smack bang on the same level as WWE, and they had Batista versus JBL for the world title. Our world title match was better, so there you go. But they also had Eddie Guerrero and The Undertaker, so that's hard to compete with, to be fair. Eddie and Undertaker, that's a damn good match. But look, that's good news that we're on same quality. Look, our buy rates and attendance doesn't get them anywhere near it. Hey, we got 8,000 through the gate though. That's pretty good. But W got 20,000. But look, it's still good. They're still fine. They only got a 0.68 buy rate, and we're at 0.25. So slowly but steadily, we'll get there. We'll get there, and we'll be close. We'll close that gap, and we are putting on good shows. So that's the first step to getting there. And we keep doing that, we will improve. But that's all we have time for, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like on it, subscribe to see more episodes coming away very soon. We're going to begin the road to our next pay-per-view, which will be Destination X. So that should be fun indeed. So that'll be 4 weeks away, so 3 weeks away maybe actually. So I'll show you some of the matches heading into that, and we'll keep on booking away. So thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you in the next one.